Well, good morning. Thank you for joining me. Brand image, customer experience, customer engagement. Now, I've been asked to do something specific, so hence we're on the podcast. I've been asked by a business to kind of explain why I see a value that a business should actively go out and support, engage with, collaborate with a sporting athlete, a sporting team, or a sporting event. Now, I'm going to try and do this the easiest I can. Obviously, as you know, DKS have had nearly 20 years of working in the sporting sector and in the business sector. Myself, I've been sponsored in rugby, football, athletics, cross-country mountain bikes, shooting and motorsport. So I've got kind of a good understanding, shall we say, an expertise on how this works. But I'm also a businessman. I've also run various shops and various businesses. So I can tell you firsthand that it does work, and it does make not just practical sense, but also financial sense. Now, the easiest thing and the easiest way I want to explain this to you, as a business, you are in business to make money. You're in business to promote your products, your services, and generate a new customer audience, thus increasing sales and turnover. Well, to do that, you need to market and you need to advertise to prospective customers. Now, when you get to a certain level, whether it's in an area, a geographic, or a demographic, I then believe that you need to look at sports teams, events, and athletes. The reason being is that in some respects they are cheaper than conventional marketing and advertising. For example, you put an advert in the local paper, it will cost several £100, and the potential is that only so many people will see it or read it. Now, you've got to do that, most people will say, over a period of time to get the kind of impact you're looking at. So in theory, you've got a budget for £5,000 or £6,000. If you're going to do a TV advert, say you're a little bit bigger, you're going to need to budget on £40,000 or £50,000. In the middle is a radio advert that will only work if people have their radio on. So you're going to budget for £10,000 to £15,000. Now, if you go to a sporting team, an athlete or event, you could basically half all those figures and still get the coverage you require, but you would be able to work with the athlete, the team or the event to get the coverage you require. For example, if you're a local cafe or a little local restaurant, I would recommend that you would support, collaborate and sponsor a local junior football team. For the season, you might have to supply their kit, which would probably be less than £1,000. So, for example, your £1,000 to a local under 15, under 16 football team in your area is likely to get you advertising in the local paper. You're likely to get some of the players do their end of season presentation at your cafe or restaurant. You're liable to actually be a focal point of interest, and you're likely to do campaigns in the local area supporting the local team, therefore engaging with the local people. £1,000 for argument's sake across the season, so that's going to work out to less than £100 a month. So are you going to be can you capitalise on £100 a month, local football team, local area, in the local paper, people talking about you weekly, thanking you, name on the front of the shirt? £1,000 for the year, for argument's sake, sponsoring the football kit. That's an easy one. Now, obviously, if you go up a level and you're into a region, you might find another local team, or you might find a motorcyclist, or you might find a clay shooter, or you might find an athletics person, and you'll say, right, I want to support them. They will then do a load of social media for you. They'll talk about you. They'll wear your logo on their equipment or their clothing or their vehicle. That might cost you, I don't know, £4,000, £5,000. for a year. You're going to be tweeted, you're going to be Facebooked, you're going to be mentioned once a week, twice a week, and then obviously over a weekend when they've done their sport. So all of a sudden you've got quite good coverage. Your return on investment over the course of the year is very high. Now when you consider supporting a high profile athlete, a high profile team, or even going out and supporting a local event, for argument's sake, a regional shooting competition, a regional athletics event, you actually do the event. So majority of the photographs, the social media, and all of the things that event do are going to have your brand logo and image. You probably get tickets to attend the event, but everybody there, for argument's sake, a local shooting competition, clay target, is going to have 500 or 600 people at an event. Therefore, your brand, your image is going to be seen by 500 or 600 people. You're also going to get talked about in the lead up to that event, during the event, and you're also going to get spoken about in any press releases afterwards. Now, you've got to capitalise on that, but potentially for a small sum of a few £1,000s, you could be involved quite massively in that event. Now that's just at local level. When you work with a company like ourselves, we look at what your marketing budget is and what you're getting as a return on investment, and then we take you to sports, athletes and events where you will get a greater return on investment. Now you've got to consider what you spend for marketing and what you spend on advertising as to what you get back. Now I've said 100 times, and it is more apparent now than anything else, working with a garage, a four-wheel drive specialist. I have got a four-wheel drive to drive around in to go to shooting events. So you can see the similarity. Now the garage itself has given me a vehicle, four-wheel drive. Now they have only lost, over the course of the year, the depreciation on the vehicle is a few £1,000s. We all get that. But the vehicle is branded and graphicsed, and I drive it around every day. I go to various events up and down the country, locally, regionally, and that vehicle is seen by several thousand people during the course of a day and a week. Then when I go to sporting events, I advertise and I promote that vehicle comes from there, take photographs, tweet and Facebook. So for the cost of the vehicle, the loss of the depreciation, shall we say £5,000 for the year, the potential of me being able to increase sales by one vehicle will instantly mean that was worthwhile. So over the course of the year, if I can potentially sell 2 vehicles or 3 vehicles, or encourage followers and friends to use that garage for servicing, for spares, repairs, or even sales, I am going to be very, very worthwhile. I am going to be a very good asset to that business. Obviously, we appreciate four-wheel drives fit into the country sector and the shooting sector. So the social media aspects, the tweeting, the country fairs and places I go to become very much cost-effective for A, the garage, and B, for me. So you need to have a look, and hence what DKS do, is the fit. What does your business fit into, the demographic and the geographic, to make sure that you have a strong voice in a new audience and a new area, and how you can capitalise your return on investment. Now, I often ask people, how many meals, how many sittings at a restaurant do you need to make a profit as to what you spend on advertising and marketing? And for some people, they say, oh, I do a 2-to-1, a 3-to-1, a 10-to-1. So when you start looking at it, work your way up to top level football, top level athletics, the British teams, even, Premier League football. Look at the money those guys are investing and imagine the return on investment. Now, as a business, we have been involved in some very, very big and lucrative partnership and sponsorship deals. Now, they have gained normally 5 to 6 times what was invested in has been generated back as a return. Now, we have said many times, there aren't many connections, many times that you can actually put out a marketing or an advertising budget and get somewhere in the region of 5 to 6 times the return on your investment. So all I'm saying is have a look at your local sports. If you want some assistance with building contracts and various bits and pieces, please get in touch with me and I'll help you develop. The bonus with us as a company, we sit both sides of the fence. Now you're going to say, how does that work, Andy? Well, it works because we've worked on both sides. We've been the athlete asking for sponsorship and we've been the business sponsoring. So by sitting on both sides of the fence, we can say, right, this is what's good for the athlete, this is what's good for the business. Now, if you're a business listening to this and you go, and I've got £10,000 I want to spend and I want to get a return on investment of 3, 4, 5 times that, we will place you somewhere, we will write a contract, we will work with you, and we will also work hard to make sure that the athlete, the team, the event actually give you a return and will get you 4 or 5 times what you have invested over the course of the year. If you're an athlete listening to this and you're going out producing a proposal and you want a business on board, then talk to us and we will help write your proposal. We'll help you develop your campaign, your strategy, so that while you're doing your sport, you are also giving a return for the people that are supporting you. It is a relationship, and that's what you're trying to do, is you're develop your business and you're developing your brand and your image through sport. Sport is a leisure environment, leisure and pleasure. So at a weekend when your business normally isn't servicing its customers or selling products, the sports athlete, the sports team or the sports event is front and centre and in most people's eyes. Most people are loyal to a team or an event or an athlete. It could be worthwhile. So just bear that in mind. Consider it, and if you want to know more, please get in contact with me and we can see what we can do for you.